So we have few more lessons left. We have الدرس الثاني والعشرون, okay, 22, and والثالث والعشرون, and 23. So we'll start with these two lessons. Both of these lessons deals with this concept that we've been, uh, getting in touch with. We have mentioned a few times, which is al-mamnu' min as-sarf. This is one of the grammar topic, falls somewhere in like lower intermediate, somewhere intermediate level topic. But as you know, the author, he spread the entire concept throughout the book. He introduced these type of words from the beginning without talking too much. Now this is the time that author will bring everything together and we'll learn as a whole unit. Okay, so what is mamnu' min as-sarf? So we'll just read whatever this explanation is talking about, because this subject, there's many different ways to teach or learn. Different books will explain these things in differently. They'll categorize things differently. They have different ways to teach it. But I will just focus on however this author in this explanation is, teaching you. Okay, so I'm not because some of the other grammar books, they will have a little bit of different categorization and they will explain a little bit things differently. Don't worry, when you go to those grammar books, you will learn like that. But by and large, what I saw by picking at it, it's not too bad. It's good enough. It has all the information that you need to know about this topic. So it probably covers almost more than 80% of the things anyway. So what is al-mamnu' min as-sarf? He says al-mamnu' min as-sarf ismun la yunawwan. Ismun la yunawwan. So this is the word we said tanween. Okay? Tanween. This is the word tanween. This is the verb of the word tanween that we always say. So that means what? If it doesn't do tanween, so that means that's what he's saying. La yunawwan, that means it doesn't do tanween. It doesn't have tanween. So these words, these are ism. Number one, they're ism. Number two, they don't have tanween. So for example, we have this word ism with the tanween. So is this one of the word mamnu min as-sarf? No, because by definition, we're saying that it cannot have tanween. But apparently, we can have tanween in ism. So obviously, you know that we've been talking about there are a lot of words that we've seen so far that don't take the tanween. The reason why we study these words, they don't take tanween because they have implication. One of the implication is that, let's just think about, it says la yujar bil kasra. That's what we want to say. Meaning, when we have a normal noun, we have harful jar preposition mean. How do we make it into majrur? What happens after preposition? We put a kasra. Okay, so this is the state of majrur. Same thing is with mudaf, mudaf ilayhi. So you have kitabullahi, kitabullahi, right? And we know that mudaf ilayhi is majrur. So what this word happens, what he's saying is yujarru bil fatha. So these words, they don't take kasra. This is their weakness. This is their main issue. That's one of the reasons why we have to study them. So these words, when we put them after the preposition, we cannot put a kasra. We'll talk about a few exceptions, okay? So just know what he's trying to say right now. They don't take tanween, and we don't put kasra. And he says niyabatan anil kasra. So he says yujarru bil fatha. So we put majrur, we make this word into a kasra state, jar state, using the fatha. That's strange, right? Niyabatan instead of kasra. So instead of kasra, we put a fatha. Make sense? So that is the whole thing about mamnu min as-sarf. That's why we need to study, and that's why it is important. So now the rest, this is easy. The rest is finding out then what are the words that mamnu min as-sarf. This is strange, but something we can handle. It's just a rule that we can understand. Okay, so we have some words, some nouns that they don't take tanween. Okay, fine. And what happens? That means they don't take kasra. Okay, strange, but we can solve it. So what do we do in the jar state? Instead of kasra, we put a fatha. Another strange things. But at the end of the day, we just memorize. We just have to grasp these three concepts. No tanwin, no kasra, give fatha in the jar. So this is the step one. But the rest of the thing about this subject is about what are the words are mamnu min as-sarf. This is where the subject becomes a little bit of tricky and a little bit more intermediate because there are a lot of rules, there are a lot of situations. Okay, and you have to know them. So these are not words that you memorize. That's the issue. You have to know the rules. You will come up with a brand new word that never existed in Arabic language. But because it's going to fall in one of these rules, you have to apply the rule and not put tanween. So that's why this subject is a little bit of difficulties. So make sure you understand this part first. This is called hukum. This is the definition and hukum. What is the definition of mamnu min as-sarf? And what does it mean? What is its hukum? What is its ruling? Okay, makes sense? So far with me, guys? And there are exceptions on this. Inshallah, if the book mention it, I will, we'll see it. And if the book doesn't mention it, I will mention it. Somebody remind me if the book doesn't mention the exception when it will take a kasra. It's mamnu min as-sarf will also take kasra. So as you can see, this subject is a little bit tricky. Now, so now he says anwa al-asma al-mamnu'a min as-sarf. So now he's going to give you anwa is the type of nouns which are considered mamnu min as-sarf. And this is the part where different books will explain differently. I will just simply read what this author is doing. Okay, this is fine. There's nothing wrong with this. So he's saying the first type, anwa. He'll give us the types of the word that is mamnu min as-sarf, meaning won't take tanwin or the kasra. Number one is al-alamul mu'annath. Okay, these are the easy ones. So we'll start with the easy ones. Any feminine proper noun. Any feminine proper noun. We are saying proper noun that is feminine. So for example, Maryam. Maryam is a name of a female person. There's no ta marbuta, but because this is a proper name of a female person, this will be mamnu min as-sarf. As you can see, there are no tanwin. Zainab, like so. Then we have Aisha too. Again, it has a ta marbuta, but here we know that this is a name of a female person, so it is a proper name of a female person, so it will not take tanwin, regardless of the ending. But what about here, Makkah? Makkah is not a female person's name. In fact, it is a name of the city. So why it is mamnu min as-sarf? Again, it is a proper name which is feminine. So how is that feminine? Because it has a ta marbuta. Okay, makes sense. So this proper name has a ta marbuta, that's why it is a mamnu min as-sarf. Now, if it was an adjective, for example, we have Jamila. Listen to me carefully. Jamilatun. Jamilatun. What is Jamila? Beautiful. Now, this is a female adjective. The male adjective is Jamil. Waladun Jamilun. Bintun Jamilatun. So this is an adjective. Doesn't matter because it's an adjective. It is not a proper noun. That's why it is taking tanwin. But here is the tricky part. I'm pretty sure you have heard sister's name, Jamila. Pretty sure you know someone whose name is Jamila. At that time, if a sister's name is Jamila, what's going to happen? It's the same word. They will write it exactly the same way, except what? What is the one thing that we have to follow? Yes, it will become غير منصرف mamnu min as-sarf. So that sister's name cannot be Jamilatun. It has to be Jamilatu. So if you by Jamila, you mean a name of a sister, then it is Jamilatu. But by Jamila, if you mean it's an adjective, then it doesn't follow into this category. But it's not a proper name. So it would be Jamilatun. If you understood this much, I think you're good. So what is Jeddah? Jeddah is actually Jeddah, the one that the city in the Saudi. It is actual pronunciation is Jeddah, but I think we say Jeddah more often. So again, as you can see, there mamnu min as-sarf. Why? Proper nouns which has female, either the proper noun of female or the word itself is feminine. So this is your first rule. Second rule is what? Al-alamu al-mu'annath fi lafz. Okay, but look, I think these both of them we can easily put into the same category. He's saying the proper noun, which is mu'annath fil lafz. That means the word is feminine, but its meaning is masculine. Wa ma'anahu mudhakkar, and its meaning is masculine. What he means is Hamza. Hamza is a name of Sahaba, is a name of a male person. Muawiyah, it is name of a male person. Talha is a name of a male person. All of these are name of Sahaba, right? And also, a lot of people, keep these names. So what about them? So what he is saying is that these names are feminine by love, by the word, but its meaning is masculine. But because it is a proper noun and it has some kind of feminine elements or alama, it will still fall into this category. So I would actually put both of them into same category. As long as you know a proper noun that has some type of alama of the femininity, whether this word actually refers to a female person or that word has the alama, the sign of the female, okay, feminine, then regardless of anything, it will be mamnu min as-sarf. Now we're not going to say hadhihi hamza. That's not what we're saying. You cannot say hadhihi hamza. You have to say hadha hamza because he's a masculine person. Now, here we're only concerned about the word whether it is mamnu min as-sarf or not. So mamnu min as-sarf rule is very strict here. It needs to be proper noun, not common noun. I hope you understand what proper noun and common noun means. Name of a person, things and place and whatnot. All of these things are proper noun. Plus feminine. Now this feminine could be actual person or is the word. Word is feminine. If you understand this much, you have both of these rules. Phantom. So that is the first two rules. Then he says, Al-alamu al-makhtum bi alifin wa nunin zaidatain. Okay, so what he's talking about, a name, al-alam, again, alam. Right now we're all in alam. As you can see, that's what the other books will do. They will divide these words into two categories, two camps. Number one is alam, which is proper nouns, and number two would be sifa, which is an adjective. But the book here, he didn't do this. That's fine. So we're still talking about proper noun. So any proper noun which ends makhtum, which is ending with alif and noon, okay, then it will be mamnu min as-sarf. So for example, Uthmanu. So we have alif and noon. And Uthman is definitely a proper noun, somebody's name. Now he also added a restriction here, which is za'idataini. That means these two words, sorry, these two letters, alif and noon, has to be additional letter. They cannot be part of the root letters. Now this is a little bit maybe abstract, maybe broad for you. So I will not, worry too much about this one right now. To understand this, you need to study book 2 and understand a little bit more about the root words. Based on what he's saying here is that actual word for these or the root words are ain, tha, and mim. These are the actual word. And here, these are the actual word. Ain, fa, and fa. Okay? And that means the actual word doesn't have alif and noon. These letters were added, additional. So how do we know which one is additional and which one is not? At this stage, we would not know. That's why this line is just here for completeness. We don't have the tools to understand which one is additional and which one is not. But by and large, guys, if you see alif and noon at the end of a proper noun, and as you will see, end of an adjective, then it will be mamnu' min as-sarf. So this rule is also easy. Okay, these are easy rules, guys. Don't make it complicated. Any proper noun ending with alif and noon, Affan, Sufyan, Marwan, Ramadan, even Ramadan, as you can see, this is a name of a month, not a person. But we did not say alam shakhsi. We did not say personal name. We just say alam, a proper noun. As long as it's proper noun and it has alif and noon at the end, you have yourself a mamnu' min as-sarf, no tanween. So that is your third rule. So the fourth one is alam al-alam alladhi ala wazni al-fi'l. So this is a broader term and accurate, but now you also get confused. What does it mean by al-wazn fi'l? What he's saying here is that any proper noun, we're still in proper noun, which has the pattern, wazn here means pattern of a verb. If a noun has a pattern of a verb, or it sounds like a verb, then then they will say there's some deficiency of this noun. It resembles like a verb. So it will cut off one of the attribute of the noun, which is one of the fundamental attribute of the noun is that it should have tanween. So it will not give him that attribute because you are not a pure noun. So if you study advanced grammar, they will go much more into, philosophy of these things. And when you study them, inshallah, I think you will. I think I explained these things in my YouTube when we went through Jurumiyah. I went really in details explaining the philosophy and all of these things. If you're interested, you can listen to it. What does it mean to be a pure noun and or not to be a pure noun and all of these things. These are interesting, but at the end of the day, at this level, it doesn't help. You still have to know, you still have to know the rules. فهمتم? So he's saying if the noun has a resemble of a verb, then you cannot take tanween. So what do you mean by Ahmad? Ahmadu. Why does it resemble like a verb? It resembles like one of the very common pattern of verb, which is af'alu. Af'alu. Adhabu. We say this one a lot. Adhabu. When you study, present tense verb, you will see that it's there. Also, you have another form, which is af'ala. Af'ala. This is also another past tense verb. Af'ala yuf'ilu. So for example, adkhala. Adkhala yudkhilu. As you can see, this is a very, very verb. This sound is very verb-like sound. But somebody's name is in this pattern. Okay, you can name yourself whatever you want, but you have to pay for it now. So that will say, okay, your name sounds like a verb, you don't get a tanween. So you will not have tanween. Anwar is the same thing. What is Yazid? What type of, this doesn't have the same form, afal. So why he's saying Yazid is a verb? Hmm? It is a very, very verb. Zada yazidu. Yazidu. What is zada yazidu means? To increase. So this one resembles a verb. To make it easier, they would say any word that is in this pattern, af'ala or af'alu, in this pattern, then it will not take, it will be mamnu min as-sarf, which is true. Then you will cover this much, but then you'll get into trouble with this word. That's why this is a better explanation, that any word that comes into a pattern of the fi'l, then it will not take tanween. But most of the time, it will be in this pattern, most of the time. Okay? That's why some books, they will just say any noun, any proper noun that comes in af'ala form, like ahmada, ahmadu, af'alu, ahmadu, anwaru, hakada. So that is your fourth one. That is your fourth one. So what is the fourth one? Again, we're talking about proper nouns, but this one, it has a pattern of verbs to make your life easy, just think about af'alu for now. Af'alu. Then the fifth one he gives, again, we're still in al-alam. We're still in the proper nouns. Al-ajamiyu. So now we're talking about something that we mentioned many, many times, which is non-Arabic or foreign names from the Arabic language perspective. So non-Arabic names are mamnu min as-sarf. So we have Ibrahim. We gave this example many, many times. Yaqub. Okay. William. Edward. Okay. Pakistan. This is not name of a person, but it is indeed a name. Alam. And it definitely it is not the word Pakistan is not Arabic word. Okay. So that's why you have this it's following under mamnu min as-sarf. Paris is a Paris. Now, makes sense? So these things are easy. Some of these things are easy. Now we're going into the second camp, which is as-sifa. Now we're looking into where those are adjectives. These are not proper noun. These are adjective. But it has some issues. It says as-sifatu allati ala wazni afal. So here he used this one because based on his claim, we don't have adjective that follows other verb patterns. Most of the time, the adjective will be in this pattern, af'ala. Just like we have ahmadu, af'al. When you say af'ala, don't worry about the ending. It could be af'alu. He means the pattern itself, not the ending haraka. So if it is on the af'al form, whether it is proper noun or adjective, it will be mamnu min as-sarf. And I'm pretty sure you have seen these words many, many times. Abyadu, ahmaru, akhdaru, right? And of course, we can also add akbaru, biggest, asgharu, smallest. These are also adjective, but they have the same pattern. Now, so what is abyad? Abyad is white, ahmar is red, akhdar is green. So all the primary color names, primary colors in Arabic are mamnu min as-sarf. So this is sifa. So here now we're talking about the adjective that has this pattern af'al. Another issue with the sifa is that if you have an adjective which is ala wazni fa'alan, ala wazni fa'alan pattern. Any word, any adjective that sounds like that. For example, kaslan, jawan, atshan, ghadban. You see, fa'alan, it has this pattern. To be honest with you, some book they will just mix these two together. Okay? Remember here we said a proper noun which ends in alif and noon, additional alif and noon, like Uthman. See, it has the fa'alan, same pattern, or at least the same sound, alif and noon. So you can also say something like that as well, because the actual word is kasala. This alif and noon is additional. Fahimtum? So you can also say, if you want to combine the two, any proper noun or adjective ending in alif and noon, which are additional, then it would be mamnu min as-sarf. Now we have number 8. It says al-ism al-makhtum bi alif al-mamduda. What is he saying? He's saying any noun which ends in alif mamduda. So first thing you have to know what alif mamduda is. What is alif mamduda? Anybody knows what alif mamduda means? It is a technical term. You have to know. We use them. Yes, it is alif and hamza. It says alif mamduda, but it's actually two letters, alif and hamza. So when you have alif and hamza at the end, then we call it what? Alif mamduda. By and large, as someone pointed out, by and large, this one is a sign of feminine. Is okay, feminine word. So this is, remember, tamarbuta is a sign of feminine word. Alif mamduda is also sign of a feminine word. You have any name which has alif and noon at the end, but in this form. Not just any alif and noon. It has to be in this form. And there's another form. One of the form is af'ila. So most of the time, this form will be in the plural. Most of the time, you'll find this form in the plural. So for example, أغنياء. Now أغنياء is a plural of غني. غني. Now غني is rich. So أغنياء is the plural. So it's a description of rich people, person. But here ghaniyun, you can say tanwin, not a problem. It doesn't follow if fall into any of these mamnu min as-sarf category. But this plural this is definitely a broken plural, but not only broken plural, it is in this pattern. Af'ila, aghniya, asdiqa. Now you know the asdiqa, which is the plural of sadiq, it is mamnu min as-sarf. You cannot say asdiqa'un. You cannot say that. Atibba, aqwiya. So all of these are plural. Atibba is a plural for tabib. Aqwiya is plural for qawi. So you have to know these plurals. So most of the time, this would be a plural. Now, if you're really interested in why the Arabs do this, if you really learn them, and I think I explained very details about this topic in Ajurumia, you'll see that very interesting the reason why they do that, because they will look into a word, ism, from their default perspective. They will say any noun. I'm just going to give you a little bit taste. I don't want to spend too much time here. They will say any noun should be singular by default. Is the plural default? No, plural is not a default. Plural is something that you have to make it into plural. Noun, the default, the asal is it should be singular. Second, they want to say the asal of a word ism that it should be a masculine. The original state of a noun should be masculine. The feminine is the branch, is the not original, is the secondary state. There are other asals. The default of the word should be indefinite. The definite is not the default. So they will define what are the defaults of a noun. Now, if you break one of the default, they will, they'll let you go. They will not give you a lot of hard time. But if you break two of these default, then they will stripe your pure noun title. Then you are not a pure noun anymore. So the only pure noun can have tanween. If you break two of the rules, then you're not a pure noun, then it will remove your tanween. So what are the rules you broke? Number one, this is plural. Number one, this is a plural. Number two is that it has the sign of feminine. So you broke two of the rules. So if it was just a plural, not every plural is mamnu min as-sarf. For example, buyutun, aqlamun. These are plural, but it still gets tanween. But you broke two rules. Now you're a plural and you also have the sign of feminine. You don't get tanween. Are there a lot of yes? So this one is one of them. The second one is, as he mentioned, this is also usually comes as a plural. We have al-ism al-makhdum bi alif al-mamduda ala wazni fu'ala. So here, same thing. You have alif and mamduda, but just having alif and mamduda is not good enough. You need to break two rules. Another rule is that this has to be plural. So for example, fuqara, plural of faqir. So it is a plural, but it also has alif mamduda. Wuzara, zumala, ulama. These are all plurals. Fahimtum? So that is their argument. So just remember these two patterns. Inshallah, it will be easy. Then we have al-ism alladhi ala wazni mafa'il. So now it is about a noun that is into this pattern, which is mafa'il. So again, this will be by and large plural, and there is a name for this plural, muntaha al-jumu'. So there is a name for this thing, this one and this one. So they're saying that anytime you have a plural that has these type of pattern, it's not only these, there are other patterns, similar, but a little bit variations. So these words, muntaha al-jumu', it has a similar sound, but there are some variations. But these are the most common ones. So if something comes as a mafa'il or mafa'il, the difference between the two is this ya, then it will be mamnu min as-sarf. So masajidu, you don't say masajidun, ma'ahidu. Okay, and you say fanadiqu, not fanadiqun. Now the question is, why they're mamnu min as-sarf? Because did he break two rules? he broke only, from the definition, what I said, he broke only one rule. Only thing is that we have that they are plural. So what is the second rule? Why is he being punished? I like to say it like that. Why is his purity is, taken away? So why it's not a pure noun? Anybody knows? This one, wallahi, I don't think anybody explain like that. Most of the book, they will explain that these are two exception. They will say that these, all of the other rules, they have two issues. They will say illa. Illa is a weakness, deficiency. So this word, they have two deficiencies. But they will say this one has one deficiency. I don't agree with them at all. I will stick with my rule. I haven't found anyone who says what I'm saying to you, because most of the book, they will say they have only one deficiency. But I am trying to propose to you that they have two deficiency as well. Anybody knows? You guys will not know if you don't know what is muntaha al-jumu' means. In Arabic, it's very interesting. You have a plural of a plural. This is very interesting, but this is very common, and sometimes we use the second plural more often than the first plural. So these patterns are in Arabic is the last plural that you can make of a plural. So sometimes you can have multiple layer of plural. Okay. So now, as you can see, it by definition of Muntahal Jumu, they broke two rules. Why? You are plural twice. So you broke one rule two times. Makes sense? So there you have it. He gave you 11 separate rules. If you understand, if you memorize them, please do so. So what are we saying? We're saying when we have these words, one of these categories, then what's the ruling? It will not take a tanween, it will not take a kasra, and instead we will give it a fatha. Idhab ila fir'aun. Idhab ila fir'auna. We have ila, clearly preposition. We should have a kasra, but we cannot give a kasra because Fir'aun, it is mamnu min sarf. Why? And also you have to know every time you see a mamnu min sarf, do this a mental exercise to find out what category does it fall into. This one will fall into this category. Al-ilm al-ajami, non-Arabic name. Now, so then he says al-mamnu min sarf yujarru bil fatha. So this is the ruling. So we put a fatha instead of kasra in order to make it into majrur state. So he says dhahabtu ila Zainaba, not ila Zainabi, although that is the default state. If you were to say here Muhammad, then you would say dhahabtu ila Muhammadin. Absolutely. dhahabtu ila al-madrasati. هذا الكتاب لأحمد. This book is for Ahmed. But prepositions, we cannot put a kasra, we put a fatha. Ana min al-Pakistana. Ammarun. So this is fine word, not a problem. Fi London. Londona. So he's in the London. So hakada. Al-Ka'batu fi Makkata. A lot of people don't know this. So Makkah will be mamnu min as-sarf because it would be what? Feminine proper noun. Okay, he says al-majrur naw'an. So majrur in Arabic, from the grammatical perspective, we change the default, the dhamma, into a kasra only for two purposes, only for two reasons. There are more than two reasons for the dhamma. We know that the cases when we have to have a dhamma for a noun, and there are lots of reasons when we put a fatha for a noun. So why would sometimes all of a sudden we will say Muhammad, let's say Muhammadun, Muhammadun, and then we'll say Muhammadin or Muhammadan. This fatha state, mansub, it has a lot of different reasons. We'll study them. You'll study them a lot, especially in book 3. There are a lot of reasons to put a fatha. Then there's a medium type of reason, situation when we put a dhamma would be like not too many and not too less. Then you have the kasra, the ja. Ja is only two. That's what he's saying. There are only two reasons we put a kasra. One is majrur bi harf jar. So we put a kasra after harful jar. كما في الأمثلة السابقة, as we have in examples here. So as you know, you say إلى البيت, إلى, okay, من المدرسة. So these are preposition, we put a kasra. Second one is majrul bil idafa. The second reason, second situation when we put a kasra is when this is the second word of the idafa, which is mudaf ilayhi. So we say, as I give you example, Rasulullahi. Okay, Rasulullahi. So the Prophet of Allah. So the of. So the second word will always take a kasra. These are the only two reasons. So what he's saying is that here you cannot say, even in this situation, you cannot put a kasra. You cannot say Baitu Zainabi. Although we're supposed to put a kasra here because it is mudaf ilayhi, but because of mamnu min sarf, you cannot put a kasra. Zainaba. You put a fatha instead. So Baitu Zainaba Jamilun. The house of Zainab is beautiful. هذا كتاب أحمد. This is the book of Ahmad. فهمتم؟ Now, so now he is saying بيت زينب مضاف مضاف إليه. We already know them. هذا لمحمد. So it says مجرور بالكسرة لأنه ليس ممنوعا من الصرف. He's actually explaining things that I wanted to say. هذا محمد. We clearly have a kasra. So this is majrur because we have a li preposition. It is kasra, it's majrur. The state is a jar, like it is majrur by kasra because it's the default. But now we say hada li hamzata majrur bil fatha. So this is the keyword. It is still majrur. It is still majrur. It is not mansub. It has a preposition harful jar li. It must be majrur. So this is majrur, but it is majrur by fatha. Why? You have to explain yourself. لأنه ممنوع من الصرف. So please go through these examples. He's clearly showing that you cannot say Maryamun, you cannot say Uthmanun. For all of them, you should know why. Go through each one of them and ask yourself why they are mamnu min as-sarf. Pick in your mind from one of the 11 categories that he mentioned. It will be very useful. Now he says, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. We have completed at least from the explanation part of entirety of Medina Book 1. Subhanallah. Now we have a little bit more things to do, which is just going back to the book itself. We will not spend so much time, but we do that. So we will do that. So in the book, we have 2 lessons, but these lessons are all dealing with mamnu min as-sarf. So this one, الدرس الثاني وعشرون, 22 exercise. We have a text, but this text is, entire text is full of mamnu min as-sarf. He purposely, author rahimahullah, he purposely used lots of mamnu min as-sarf words just to get your mind ready. I don't think I want to read the whole thing. It's really simple. Subhanallah, I told you this book, one of the good things and the bad things at the same time. So advantage and disadvantage of Medina books is that they use the same word so often because the author is not trying to teach you vocabs, he's trying to teach you grammar. But he uses them so that you can see at least the real life examples. So he will be using the same words that we have seen like 10, 20 times. So that's why this book by itself is not good enough for reading or vocabs, but very good book for the grammar. So he says, Hamidun tabibun. Hamid is a doctor. Zawjatuhu. His wife is mudarrisatun. Okay, is a teacher. Ismuha Aminatu. Here comes Amina. His husband name is Hamidun. Wife name is Aminatu. So hakada he will explain, he will give you a lot of examples. Hamidun lahu arba'atu abna. So arba'atu, it doesn't have tanwin. Is this mamnu min as-sarf? This is mudaf ilayhi. So arba'atu abna. We've studied this number from 3 to 10. They are idafa. So he has 4 children. Naam. And go through it. He mentioned Hamza. See, he's using all the mamnu min as-sarf names. Hamza to Uthmanu, Ahmadu, Ibrahimu, Ahmadu, Hamza to Taliban. the dual forms. We have studied them. Read them, guys. I'm telling you, every single word here you have seen before. This is very, very easy text. Very easy. You should know what is ahmar. You should know what is aswad. Anybody knows what aswad is? Black. Very good. So these are very common words. Asfar, yellow, azraq. So he's using all the color names. Akhdar, subhanallah. This is Jayyid. He gave us all the 5 primary colors. And all of them, as I mentioned to you before, they are mamnu min as-sarf. Mamnu min as-sarf. قالت Zainabu. Remember, qala, we have qalat because this is feminine. Verb conjugation, we've done them before. Why is manadilu? It's not taking tanween. What does manadil means? Do you know? Yes. So this is one of the pattern of muntahal jumu. Remember, mafa'il and mafa'il. Then it will be mamnu min as-sarf. Just like masajid. Now, and you also have to know why we have ta marbuta here and what's going on. Please, you have to pay attention. This is an adjective. So why this is feminine? We talked about this one. Plural of non-human objects. They are treated grammatically as feminine word. Manadil is the plural of mindil. Mafatih, again, same pattern. Mafatih, mafa'il. So this is a plural for what? Miftah. Again, masajid, madaris, fanadiq. Fanadiq, anybody knows what is fanadiq? Funduq. Funduq is what? Hotel. Very good. Ulama is also mamnu min as-sarf. It has this alif, alif mamduda, and it is in the same pattern, or you can think about alif mamduda with plural. It is mamnu min as-sarf. So he's dedicating a whole section. So I'll go a little bit faster because we have explained everything. So he says al-anwa al-atiya min al-asma'i mamnu'atun min as-sarf. So the types, the following types, the types that he's going to mention, the categories that he's going to mention, these are the nouns which are among what? Mamnu' min as-sarf. That's what he's saying. So here the author, the actual book just gave you the words that's mamnu min as-sarf. Now you should be thinking about this word. Why? What is the common ground for all of them? And you will find them, these are all feminine proper noun, whether it refers to a feminine person or it refers to or the word itself has tamarbuta. Since he did not mention the ruling, the reason, maybe I can ask you the reason. So I can say number 3, why is number 3 mamnu min as-sarf, which we learned from the explanation. Why Uthmanu, Affanu, Sufyanu, Marwanu, Nu'manu, why they're mamnu min as-sarf? Ending alif and noon plus proper noun. Very good. So you have a proper noun plus alif and noon. Okay, very simple. This one, kaslanu. See, I told you a lot of books where they put this one together, but the explanation did not do that. So here we're saying not only the proper noun, also adjective plus alif and noon. Then we have Ahmadu, Anwaru, Akbaru, As'adu. So why are they mamnu min as-sarf? They're mamnu min as-sarf, pattern of the verb. Very good. So they follow in the pattern Ahmadu. So you can just think about this all falls in this pattern. Af'al. So what about this one? Abyadu, Aswadu, Ahmaru, Asfaru. I like the way the actual book are organizing them. This is the same issue, pattern of the verb, but this is the proper noun and this is the adjective. So this issue with this pattern, afalu, what he's trying to push you right now, and I support this one, that just think about this pattern, afal. Afalu. If this pattern comes for the proper noun or adjective, you have yourself a mamnu min as-sarf. But if you want to be, as I said, more accurate, then you have to understand what the explanation mentioned, that it has to be a pattern of the verb. But by and large, this is the form that you'll see more often. What about this one? William. So this is easy. These are all non-Arabic name. Ismail, these are all non-Arabic name. What about this one? Agniya, Azdiqa, Aqwiya, Atibba. These are, you can think about plural plus alif and hamza, alif mamduda, for both of them. There is a reason why he put them in a same type but different section because all of them are what? Yes, these are all plurals. Exactly, Ahsan. So for the plural, you have few things. Number one, if it ends alif mamduda, but this pattern, okay, agniya and fuqara. And these are, think about the pattern for now. It's much easier. Okay. Masajid mafa'il, manadil mafa'il. فهمتم? Now he wants you to read all of them and put ending. Some of them will take tanwin and some of them will not. Kutubun, this will definitely take a tanwin. Hamidun, Ahmadu. Okay, so this is a very good exercise. So these are your new words. Now the last chapter, what is he talking about here? Let's find out. Okay, the last chapter he explained to you what are the words that doesn't take tanwin, and here his focus would be what does it mean to be mamnu min as-sarf, which means that they will not take a kasra. So these are the examples he will show you here. For example, we have ana min al-Pakistana. This lesson is all about showing you that these words will not take a kasra, instead you put a fatha. Okay. عندي سبعة دفاتر. What is dafatir? Anybody knows? I think we had this word before. Singular is daftar. Very good. Very good. Daftar. Daftar is the singular. Dafatir is plural. Hati is a command verb. It's a good verb to give me. Hati, give me. Ya ustad. Give me. هذا لي, this is for me. وهذا لي محمدين. وهذا لي حامدين. Because these are pure nouns. But we say هذا لي إبراهيم. لعثمان. ليوسف. لطلحة. Every one of them you should know why. Why? And they're not all the same reason. So for example, if I were to add Ahmad here, then we have actually three different reasons. This is one reason, this is another reason, and this would be all another reason. So three different reasons. Although all of them are name of a male person, but the reason why they're mamnu min as-sarf is a three different case. We're not saying the name of a male person is mamnu min as-sarf. Name of a male person is definitely default. It will be normal with tanwin, like Muhammadun. Now, if you think about what I said earlier, that a noun has to break two rules in order to be a mamnu min as-sarf. So Muhammad, Muhammadun, did it break any rules? Any of the default? Are you sure it didn't break any of the defaults? It certainly broke one default. What is the default that it broke? The default is that noun should be, no. Did it break any of the default of an ism? Remember, ism needs to be singular, right? This is default, we said. It has to be masculine. So far it did not break any of the rule, but it has to be indefinite. The default of a noun should be indefinite. Why would say the as a default, right? We say a pen. The pen is the default. We don't have to say the pen. So it definitely broke one of the default. But we said that if it breaks one default, one asl, that's fine. That's not a problem. It needs to break two. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I mean, this is interesting side note. It's not super important, but because all of them are noun, they're all are proper nouns, so they're all definite. So why are he's not being penalized? Why they're being penalized? Because of the rules that we learn. هذا كتاب حمزة. Now, very simple things. Alhamdulillah, I think you understand. So here, clearly trying to show you min Muhammadin ila Muhammadin li Muhammadin kitabu Muhammadin. Now everything changes. Min Zainaba ila Zainaba li Zainaba kitabu Zainaba. Cannot be more explicit than that. The interesting thing about this book, it's not giving you explanation like this book is giving you. It's telling you what's the reason. That's what it's called explanation. Here, he just wants you to think about. And of course, he's expecting the teacher will explain. Do this Iqra, Waktub, very, very important stuffs, guys. Very important. Do them. This is such a good exercise. You say ذهب أبي إلى مكة وذهب عمي إلى جدة. So this is your exercise. What do you say? أخت Marwan. What do you say? You say أخت مروان مضاف إليه. Okay, مريضة. Be careful, this marida, it is describing the sister, not the Marwan. Marwan is masculine. Now, and this one is very important. You cannot fall behind the numbers. Numbers are very important. You have to know how to write numbers 1, 2, and especially 3 to 10. Okay, the book 2 will give you lots of different numbers. Okay, so right now he wants you to make sure you know from at least 3 to 10. How do we say? Now, Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, we have completed Madinah Book 1 series. Hopefully, Allah accept our effort. May Allah give us benefit in this world and the next with whatever we're trying to do. This book is very good. It is a blessing book. You have to do a little bit of study. If you understand what this book is teaching you, Alhamdulillah, you are not a beginner student anymore. If you really understand, you went far beyond beginner. The best thing to do with whatever you learn in Arabic, wallahi, is to go back to the Quran. When you go back to the Quran, you see if you find all the pronouns that you have learned, whom, kitabuhum, hunna, you will find every single pronoun that we have learned. You look for the past tense verbs. We have done every single verb conjugations of the past tense verb. You will find, doesn't matter whether it's 3 letter or not, and look for mudaf ilayhi. So this is a good way to review the grammar. Guys, before I wrap up something here, I want to talk about this PDF again, the handouts. This handout is right now, you should be paging through every single page of this handout. There should not be a single concept that you are not aware of. And I would rather say after finish all the exercises, you don't have to go to Modina Book 1 to review the grammar. Instead, come back to this PDF and to review the grammar and apply it in the Quran. Because these books give you all the things that we talked about. It has a lot of even exercises and also the verb conjugation. Where did the verb conjugation go? I'm more interested in this one because remember this book we got the taste of past tense verbs, but we don't have enough. So if you can memorize them and do the conjugations for as many as you can, subhanallah, this is such a beautiful chart because the verbs that he gave, don't worry about the categories, don't worry about this part. He's telling you something that inshallah we'll learn later, but that doesn't change the verb itself. Nasara comes in the Quran so many times. Kataba, jalasa, ghasala, raja'a, nazala, subhanallah. These are kasara, arafa, darasa, sakana, kadaba. You have to know these verbs and you have to do the conjugations. So this is such a good, and as you can see, you have the whole conjugation chart here through every single pronouns that we have. So now you can just simply pick one of them from here. Even if you don't know the meaning, I would love for you to know the meanings. You have to know the meanings, but at least I also want you to be very comfortable with the conjugations. So if I give you a random word, you don't know what it is, but I'm asking you, how do you say this word into past tense, third person, plural, let's say? You should be able to do this conjugation. Faham? So please use that PDF as a resource. It's a very good resource.